Good morning. Here it is, the first week of January, and immediately I have my own personal problems to share with you. It's about American healthcare. Did you know that from January through March, you can change healthcare providers? Having the right insurance company is everything. But more than that, I found out, is persuading your doctor to take the insurance you have. Because it's not about the test. It's not about your inconvenience, your emotional well-being. It's all about how much money your physician or the imaging company will receive from your healthcare provider. So I consulted an expert, and I'm going to give you his name. And you can use my name when you talk to him. And if you switch plans, great. He told me I didn't have to. His name is Robert Remin Insurance. RobertReminInsurance at gmail.com. What a relief. My tests that I take every single year, which is a PET scan, costs $6,800. For that, I need pre-approval from the insurance company. What I didn't understand is, if my doctor doesn't want to take my insurance, I would have to pay that up front or guarantee it. And United Healthcare already said, if you take the test without their approval, there's no guarantee once they've denied the appeal that they'll actually reimburse you. So it pays to know what you're doing and to have leverage. And that's what Mr. Remin gave me. Because then I realized my insurance was just like everyone else's insurance. PET scans are expensive. They're going to be automatically denied. Sure, is this the only test you can take to make sure you don't have cancer? It is. If you don't take the test, it means some oncologists could put you on maintenance drugs when you're perfectly healthy. Why should you have to take anything else? You don't. What you need is an expert to inform you of your rights. I called Medicare, but they were not that helpful. So I went to Robert. And then I got the scoop, and then I was no more emotionally involved in this problem. I understood it wasn't the test that was being protested. It was who's paying for it and how much. So, very simply, I gave way once my oncologist decided that they're taking my insurance, which is the same as everyone else's on this subject. They get a $40 copay, and my imaging is now going to take place instead of today, next Friday. Case solved. I don't have to scramble for new insurance. And by the way, if you've got a problem, contact Robert Remin Insurance at gmail.com. He helped me. Maybe he'll help you too. I didn't need to change. And be aware that when you do change mid-month, your policy goes in effect on the 1st of the following month. Now's the time to be aware that this is when we have open insurance in America, and you can change policies easily. And know the facts so that you don't become emotional and stressed out over insurance decisions. So that, for me, was one problem solved. The other problem I hear about is our democracy and how we're all going to be miserable come 2024. The predictions are not always correct because I think there are more good people in this country and more people who want democracy and are centrists than there are the alt-right and the very minimal alt-left. The alt-right, unfortunately, is now the entire Republican Party. And what is their platform all about? It's about immigration, sure, but it's also about money. Keeping the money for the top 1%. Look at who the funders are of Nikki Haley, of Donald Trump. It's not we the people. It's big money. It's the Koch foundations, it's the hedge funds, it's the banks. And once again, the banks are dictating policy to government. Because of the banks, the folks in Africa who should be getting off of fossil fuels and using wind and solar energy because they've got a lot of land that's vacant or where they could plant crops, it costs them a 15% premium to put solar down, and it costs them pennies to get a loan for fossil fuels. So just like I don't like the insurance companies making policy for my health care, I don't like banks and financial institutions making policy for whether or not we go to renewable energy. When the big 5 oil companies are going to give back over $100 billion to shareholders, that says to me they don't need the U.S.'s subsidies of almost $1 trillion. Will we be able to go to renewables instantly? No, we probably can't. But it does say if we took at least 500 million away from the fossil fuel energy companies, we could make a big start. Not only could we make a big start, we would be employing twice as many people as are employed for the fossil fuel business. I know. That's one of the things that I learned when I took my course on renewable energy many years ago. So it's a win-win for the country. It's a win-win if fossil fuel companies start capping all their leakages, the methane and the carbon gases. We also have a possible win-win when we use hydrogen, and we've got a lot of natural hydrogen stores right here. Denmark and other countries in the EU are looking to build energy islands that stand alone, have wind farms, have a place to monitor those wind farms to make sure they're maintained, just like you'd have an oil platform. And then they'll have cables running from the wind farm at the ocean's bottom, connecting to all of the EU. The plan is to have everyone getting electric via renewable energy. We got a lot of room to grow in this country for renewables. We're not even at 25% renewables. And we can be so easily. When you talk about healthcare, everyone's experiencing problems, even Great Britain with the NHS. They are having tremendous difficulty. Nurses are leaving, just like they're leaving here. Doctors struck during the summer. Everyone's unhappy. We need to be doing preventive medicine. Preventive medicine and mental health care. They're talking about the Ukraine and how much trauma the people have gone through and how much mental health care they're going to need. And Israel's in the same boat. When folks are going to Israel now, what they're doing is they're helping set up meditation centers and trauma centers for the people. You don't read about that in the papers. What you read about is the Palestinians, and we really don't know how many Palestinians have died, though I believe that any death is unfortunate. The fact that Hamas was allowed to thrive in Gaza, that was a tragedy for humanity. Not only did it hurt the Israelis and the Israeli public and the Israeli kids who are now fighting them in these wars, but it's also hurting shipping globally because Iran's proxies of Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, and others are active in the region. And the Houthis are now blocking trade in the Red Sea. Well, somebody will take care of them. So far, the actions against them have been mostly defensive because Saudi Arabia has been trying to broker a peace with the Houthis. We'll see what happens. They keep blocking the Red Sea and making transportation more costly for Europe and the rest of the globe. Perhaps then countries will become serious about stamping out Houthi aggression. There are many democracies in this world. At least 46 out of 76 countries voting in 2024 are democracies. Some of them are like us, flawed democracies. No reason we have to worry about an insurrectionist being on the ballot or a person who only wants to support the 1% being the challenger and the big money chasing her. No reason. We have centrists. We could start up an independent party, or we'll all vote for Joe Biden again. Those are the options. The options is a true independent party or Joe Biden. Somebody who cares about democracy and the rule of law. And it's only, 10 months away? Wake up, America. It's everyone's involvement, not only to register, not only to vote, but to be active every single day of your life. We got to clean up healthcare. We got to clean up education. We got to clean up infrastructure. We got to make sure money flows to everyone. We got to make sure the minimum wage is raised in all 50 states and that people do indeed have benefits. And oh yes, there was a shining light on the horizon. That was Costco. Another Costco unit unionized in Norfolk, Virginia. Costco was unhappy that they unionized, but not because of the way Starbucks was unhappy or Amazon. They were unhappy because they said they must have failed their employees and not listened to their needs. And that's why they unionized. There are about 280,000 people employed by Costco. Very few of them are unionized. Gotta be a reason. And the reason was Costco wasn't listening. They were accountable. They understood. So we got health care, and that's solvable because that's a money issue. We got democracy to worry about, and that's solvable too because it's a no-brainer. I don't want to see more money going to the 1%. I'm a centrist. I want to see money going to we the people, to the middle class. And unfortunately, because the top 1% makes so much money, the top 10%, the lower end of the 10%, they're only making $77,000 a year. That's not a big living. So it's all about the money. Who you vote for counts, and it counts a lot in 2024. And I'll go over that, I'm sure, many times. And just a heads up, I am going to think of a big idea that can get super funding from a super group. More on that after the 17th. So, we got problems, we got solutions. There's nothing we can't do when we unite as a people here in America and with other democracies around the world and get rid of the bad actors in Iran, Russia, North Korea. And I'm not putting China there yet. But those three, they're managing to disturb the peace globally. Must be something the other leaders can do. Thank you for listening.